You're listening to Whispers of War.
Hello everyone and welcome to Whispers of War, show number 8. I'm your host Sil. Let's just go right into how was my week in World of Warcraft. I didn't play as much as I wanted to, and normally I always say, oh, I didn't play so much, and then I actually spend quite a lot of time in game. But this week I really haven't. What did I do most of the time? I did a lot of emissary quests for reputation, because, you know, I still haven't reached Revered with all of the factions, so I'm slowly going through that, but I'm not making it into a job anymore. I am just going to, you know, look at the emissary quests for that day, do those, even if it's the ones that I already have where I need to have them for Pathfinder, because, well, who knows, you know, maybe I want to get exalted with all of them, and then it's done. I'm in game, I might as well just do it. So having a lot of fun. Well, I say having a lot of fun. I am doing them. Some of them are fun, some of them not so much. But thank God for trying to find, you know, looking for groups and getting groups to do certain things with you, because it goes a lot quicker. Especially when you have those quests where you have to get a certain percentage to fill up the bar, you know, like Champions for Elvazarov, those kind of quests. And it goes a lot quicker when you're in a group, so yeah, I tend to always look for groups who are doing the world quest. So still slogging along. I do love the shell game. I was always quite fond of memory, or that's how we call it in Holland. I don't know if you guys call it the same somewhere else, but I always enjoyed that when I was younger. So this is perfect for me. Also, it just shows what a very bad memory I have. But no, I'm enjoying that. So that's the one emissary quest I will always go, yeah, let's do it. Also, I try to do a lot of the Tortolan quests anyway, just because I think, you know, you get 125 rep for them, and you might as well just do the one or two. It all just ticks over a little bit. So still doing that, still looking at things in the app, because it does still go the quickest, I guess, just having your troops sent out and get you all that fat reputation. Doing that, of course, this week we as Horde could hand in items for the war effort, I guess. It's already not as popular as it was the week before, because I don't know what it was like for Alliance this time, but for Horde, there was only like 6% when I handed these things in yesterday. And in all fairness, normally, well, I say normally, that's really weird, because this is like the second time it's happened. But the week before, or the 2 weeks before, we were already at like 60%. So it has gone down a lot. So it makes me wonder if people are just not bothered anymore with the with those war fronts, or if it's something else. I don't know. I'm still game, you know. I'm still handing in. I'm still contributing. Also because it gives me a reputation. I'm not going to lie. That helps a lot. So yeah, why not? You know, it's costing me a little bit of gold to get all these items from the auction house. Well, some of the items, not all of them. And yeah, well, if it gives me a reputation, then it gives me a reputation. I guess it all helps a little bit. So that's what I've been doing. I've also finally gotten Una. Oh my god, that doll finally dropped on the 4th day. So, yeah, I thought, you know what, okay, I have the doll now, maybe I should pace myself and do the quest tomorrow, but of course that didn't happen. So, yeah, I've done almost all her quests. I just took her everywhere, and then you get that heartbreaking part that she's grabbed by tentacles. That sounds really wrong, but she's grabbed by tentacles and pulled into the darkness. I guess that happens with a lot of people when you get pulled in by tentacles. And I had to save her from this place, and I felt really awful that this little girl was just, you know, in this world filled with shadow monsters that wanted to eat her, I guess. That's the worst thing, I guess. Yeah, but I failed the first time she died again, just because I was not quick enough, guys, with target and then slash hug. I was really shit at that, so I made a macro, and then I started spamming the hell out of it, just pressing that macro. I think I must have given her 50 hugs before it actually went like, oh yeah, you give her this power or whatever, and she's all like, oh, I can do it now, and blah blah. Anyhow, then you get a little bit of RP, which was nice. It was quite heartwarming to see that she wants to stay with me and not her dead parents. And now I'm on that quest line that if you want to make her hug you back, then you need to take her just like an orphaned kid around the world of Azeroth. I have not done that yet. I will do that sometime this weekend, because I still want to get the goat. And I still haven't done that. I did see in looking for a group, because if you look at the pre-made group thingy in game, I know I'm so very descriptive, you actually find some very interesting pre-made groups there. So yeah, I've been browsing through those just out of curiosity to see what's there, and I saw someone who said, I need people with an Una because I want to get the goat. I'm like, okay. I think I can already do it with my Una. I don't think she needs to be super powered. I can hug back now, but I don't know. That's why I haven't really tried it yet. But yeah, I'm enjoying the pet battling. I only really do the world quest ones, and I'm very curious to see, which battle pets work. But I'm really shit at it. I'm much better at Pokemon for some reason, but this is not my my bag. I enjoy it when I beat them. But yeah, I've discovered that I don't have enough high-level pets from varied families. So that's something I need to work on. And you guys have been really great at giving me tips on how to level them up. Not that this has happened. I'm really crap at it, but yeah, I need to work on that, I think. I need to look into how that's done now in 8.1. Or what's it going to be like in 8.1, actually. So that's the pet battles. I'm also debating participating in more RP. Now, as you guys know, I am a role player. Yeah, I know that is quite laced with, oh god, it's one of those, but I used to get into some very epic storylines back in the day, and that changed a lot because my playstyle has changed. That's also something we'll discuss later on. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. Now when I RP, it all seems very, like, oh, what's the weather like? Yeah, it's nice weather. The normal small talk, chit chat talk. It's not. It doesn't feel like there's something epically going on, and I guess you have to be in a roleplay guild for that, because there's not much going on just out on the streets, which is a bit of a shame. But while browsing the CD videos of YouTube, not all of them, but some, I actually stumbled upon a person who made YouTube videos on, I think it's Moonguard. Now, Moonguard in the USA has I think it's Moonguard, or is it Wormrest Accord? But one of the two has a bit of a reputation for Goldshire, or as some people like to call it, Pornshire. And it's not much better on Argent Dawn, I have to say. I have been frequently visiting Goldshire just because I was curious, and because I had to show my boyfriend, of course, what the whole fuss was about. So it's very interesting for those that are very innocent. If you install a mod called My Roleplay or Total Roleplay, TRP, then you can read some people's descriptions. Now, some of those things are very, very graphic. Not in the, oh, look at all the blood and I've had a very horrible childhood, and this is my incredibly epic background. It's more along the sexual ways. And I'm in nowhere a prude, but I was a bit like, Right, so a lot of people can read this and we just want to put that out there. But okay, whatever floats your boat. Anyhow, so I went to Goldshire and I basically left quite quickly again after having a little bit of a giggle to myself. Because I'm still the kind of person who would giggle about the word poop. And then I saw this video of this guy who goes to Goldshire often, not just Goldshire, but mostly in Goldshire. And he, I don't think he heckles our peers. I think he just puts them a bit in the spotlight, and some of it is. I don't think it's heckling. It's more like playing along, but it's not serious. It's not the serious RP I've sometimes seen or participated in. It is very much as you would see. What's the best way to describe it? Can you remember as a child that you pretended to be something and you were really into it with your group of friends, and you would say, and you play this role and you do that and then we'll do this. So it was already pre-planned what you were going to do, right? But it was still a lot of fun as kids. It's very much like that. So no one is like, oh, you can't say that, people will call you later on in roleplay because there are no phones in Azeroth. And it was just, I don't know, it looked very much like people were just having a lot of fun. Was it serious? Absolutely not. Was it something a bit dirty? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're glancing over that. But some of it, most of that, if you cut the other stuff out, is actually really, really funny. And I just want to know if that actually happens in Goldshire. Are there just really casual RPers there who have so much fun with just coming up with these weird, freaky storylines of going, okay, let's do family RP. You're going to be the mum, you're going to be the dad, I'll be the child, grandparents, extended family, I'm the dog, I don't know. Stuff like that. I'm just so curious about that. I'm probably putting myself into a situation I should really not put myself in. But I don't know, I'm intrigued now. So, yeah, I might step into Goldshire this weekend and just have a browse and see what's going on. I might, come back really scarred next week, but we shall see. I feel now that I need to investigate. So yeah, I'm also still looking for a really interesting guild to join, one that does a lot of RP or at least participates in social events. That would be nice. Something else that I've seen is the virtual ticket being on sale. Now, I can't remember from previous years if it was always this quick. 2 months before it actually starts. I can't remember. But I thought last time I bought it that there was a little bit more on offer. Now I know that most of the time, nothing is set in stone yet, and I know that they'll probably, I'm hoping that they will probably offer you more goodies to come with the virtual ticket and not just watching the event. But I feel like it's a little bit lackluster this year. I don't know how to feel about it. So, the virtual ticket, at the moment as it stands, it says that you get some epic in-game loot. Now, we've already seen that you get a Sombra skin, which is based on I think it is the Demon Hunter, isn't it, from Diablo? I think so, I think that's the skin. It's a really cool skin, I really like it. But it's not something that I, actively want, if that makes sense. I used to always get the virtual ticket because you would get a mount and a pet, or at least a mount. And the only thing I've seen so far for World of Warcraft, which actually showed up in my mailbox yesterday, which is quite late, I think, for already having the virtual ticket on offer, is that you can get a War Mantle of the Horde or a War Mantle of the Alliance, and then the Orgrimmar Heroes War Banner and the Stormwind Champions War Banner, which are live in the game if you buy the ticket. And I'm just a little bit like, okay, that's so you can get a cloak, which I presume is transmog, and a banner. Do they do anything? No? Okay. Yeah, I'm not super excited. And okay, another good thing is that you get the following, and I'm actually going to read this out, so sorry if it's a bit of a really outy voice. For the first time ever, virtual ticket owners will be able to play a Blizzcon on-the-floor demo at home with the Blizzcon World of Warcraft Classic experience. Download and play the floor show demo from home to explore 2 specific Horde and Alliance Classic zones. Get access to this hand-on experience following the opening ceremony and play through November 8th with your virtual ticket. Now that's kind of cool, you know, that we can actually now also participate in those demos that you could play at BlizzCon. I think that's a really good thing. I wonder if we'll ever get something like this in the future when we actually get a new expansion and not Classic, because I don't want to be negative Nancy, but doing it with the Classic feels a little bit like a cop-out, because some of us have already, you know, experienced Classic. Maybe I'm just being really negative about it, and I don't know, maybe other people will really enjoy this and see this as a great thing. I guess it's good that we get that opportunity. Another part of me is like, I wanted this with BFA. So last year, when I announced everything, or the 2 years before. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they do with this in the future. Now, of course, with the virtual ticket, you'll get everything else that you always got. You know, you have access to the pre-fun, as I like to call it. So you see all those little videos from before. I think they even show from the years before. They do say that you get more stuff for the other games, so I'm assuming we're getting more and more over the course while we're getting from October to November. I mean, it's only, what, 4 or 5 weeks? That should, you know, be a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel a little bit conflicted about the virtual ticket. I think also, one, it's a little bit more expensive than it was, and yeah, with older age comes more responsibility, unfortunately, and I'm still debating when to buy this, probably at the very last moment. I think I will probably buy it for my birthday, because for you who don't know, BlizzCon is on the 2nd of November this year, which is my boyfriend's birthday. But my birthday is actually the day before, so my birthday is on the 1st of November. So I might just give this to myself and go, happy birthday, Sil! Just give myself a virtual ticket. My boyfriend has been good enough to already say, yes, if you want to watch the BlizzCon event on my birthday, then do so. Which, you know, it's not... I think some people will go, well, why shouldn't he? But in all fairness, guys, he does not play the game at all. He doesn't understand why I enjoy it so much. He's very, you know, he's happy for me to do whatever I want with it, but to then say, yeah, it's fine to watch it on my birthday, I'll entertain myself. That sounds really dodgy. He'll probably play Red Dead Redemption, guys. That's probably what he'll play. But yeah, it's not a small thing. So I think I will. I probably won't see much. I do want to see the opening ceremony. I've agreed that with him. I will want to see the opening ceremony live. Probably tweet something about it, and then I'm just going to celebrate his birthday for the rest of the time, because I'm not that horrible person who, you know, thinks that that's more important than someone else's birthday. I would not appreciate it if he would do that on the day before on my birthday. So yeah, that's really how it's going to go down, I think. So yeah, I'm just, but again, I'm not super enthusiastic this year, and I don't know why. I'm just not really getting hyped for it, which is strange, because I am very easily hypeable for, is that a word? I am very easily hypeable for things like that. But yeah, not this year. Now, another thing, we're not yet down on the negative parade, I'm sorry, is the goodie bag for this year. Now, I've always been a sucker for the goodie bags that we could, as soon as we could purchase it for at home, I did. I think there's only 1 year I did not take, and that was the one with the Stein, because I just, I didn't really tickle my fancy. But the one before that, and I think the one after that, the one with all the Overwatch stuff, and that's the one I got, because I really, really liked that one with the backpack. And then there was the I can't remember what the one was before that. I think it was with a grey messenger bag, which I need to clean out because a Lozinger just melted in there, so it's all sticky and horrible. So I'm wondering if I can throw that in the washing machine. Yeah, I need to look up what the instructions are for that. But anyhow, that one I did buy. And I really, really enjoyed it. You know, I felt a little bit like, okay, this is going to be another expense with the ticket every year. But this year, can we just talk about that goodie box? It's not even a bag. Right, so you get a... Let me just describe what's in it. So, for the goodie bag of Blizzcon, I'm just going to pull everything up so I can rip into it, I guess. What you get is a BlizzCon book, a celebration of our community. Now, this had me slightly excited. I went like, ooh, a book! I finally get a book again because we didn't get anything with the collector's edition. Not the kind of book I want, at least an art book. It's more about, you know, celebrating... It's a yearbook kind of thing, celebrating BlizzCon over the years, which has some really, really cool pictures. I think when you've been there, it might be a really amazing thing to go like, oh yeah, I remember this, or I remember that. For me personally, it really doesn't make me that enthusiastic. I love some of the artwork and some of the pictures, but not enough to go, yes, that's what I want to buy that box for. So that's one of the bigger items. Now, you have a faction keychain. It's cool, but again, it's not something that I'm like, okay, yeah, I definitely need that in my life. You also get an Overwatch challenge coin. Now, this coin actually looks really, really cool, and it's based on that coin that Baldric gave Reinhardt in the Honor and Glory animated short. Nice coin, but I guess it's something like you got with the in the collector's edition box for this year for World of Warcraft. You know, the stand with the Horde crest and the Alliance symbol. I presume that's sort of the same kind of thing, so something that you can put down. You get a magnet set from Hearthstone, a Heroes of the Storm Ravenlord crest magnet. Again, it's the... I do love that Ravenlord magnet, but it's just a magnet. And then a StarCraft 20th anniversary pin. Now, the one thing that they go, okay, this is a really big thing, is the classic Diablo vinyl figure. Okay, this is how they describe it. I'm so sorry. You know I'm not normally this negative, but I am very critical about things. And it says, this detailed figurine represents the classic incarnation of the Lord of Terror from the original Diablo. Okay. But it really looks like a cheap piece of crap plastic, if I'm looking at it. You know those knockoff toys that you get in China? That's what it looks like. And I can't see why I would want to pay this much money for a goodie bag. Okay, you get a discount for $10 to buy other gear at the store, but can you also... Okay, this is another... Sorry, it's another rant. Can you also use that discount then for the European store? Because last time I ordered a goodie bag from the American store, because the European store wasn't available at that time anymore, and now they've reintroduced it, which is great, but I had to pay almost twice as much for it because of custom fee, which is fair enough. Okay, I know that the government wants to make money, so we had to pay as Europeans a lot of custom fees. And now I'm like, okay, well, is this code also usable for the European store? Is it only for the American one? Because then I might as well just not have the discount if I have to pay the fees. What about the goodie bag? So is this goodie bag only available from the USA stores, or can Europeans also buy this and then still get approximately the same price for it while getting it from the European store? Or are we forced to go to the American one, pay the fees, and pay a lot more for basically a knockoff toy from China? You see where I'm coming from? I'm just not very, very enthusiastic about this deal. I'd much rather just save some of my money and buy some of the... Like, I once bought an amazing mug for... I think it had the cover art for that year's BlizzCon. And I love that mug. It was amazing. I don't think it was last year's. I think it was the year before with Anna on it. And I just loved it. And it's such a good mug. And the print has not washed off at all in the dishwasher. So I'm happy. Because I am not going to wash any mugs by hand. And I don't know. I'd rather save my money that I would spend on this box and maybe the custom fees, and buy something from the European Blizzard shop that has to do with BlizzCon 2018, and just buy whatever I feel like. Okay, I'll just make my own goodie bag. You know, this is what I'm going to get. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. This goodie bag is not for me. If it's for you. If you're actually like, Sil, you are absolutely insane, what are you on about? I need this goodie bag in my life and I'm going to get it. Please, just let me know. And tell me why I'm so wrong. Because, you know, I can admit, it's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not seeing what other people are seeing. So, yeah, let me know if you're going to get this goodie bag. And if you're not, why are you not getting it? Is it just the fees? Is it just too expensive? Nothing that you really, really want? You know, curious. Also very curious how many of you are going to get the virtual ticket and when you're going to get it. So I'm going to be quite late with it. I will get it, absolutely, because I love watching the videos and I do feel that it creates a bit of a community when everyone's tweeting and talking about it over Twitter. Yeah, I like that. I really, really am enjoying watching the live stream. So I will definitely be doing that. But let me know. Just let me know. So, other things. We already talked about, that times change. And so do your things in game and how you spend your game time. I actually talked to the lovely Kristen about this. So, I'm going to leave you with that interview. And I will see you on the flip side. And with me today, I am joined by someone who I've known for a very long time over the wonderful world of Twitter and the internet. Welcome, Kristen.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be able to talk to you again.
I know, like we said a little bit before the interview, it's felt like forever that we've actually talked to each other. But we've been talking for quite a while now, you and I. I think back in the Girls Gone WoW days.
Yes. In fact, Girls Gone WoW was the first podcast I ever listened to.
Wow.
And yeah, and in fact, in 2012, because you actually had me on your show back then, that was the first time that we talked. So pretty much, we've been, like, I'd like to say friends.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate way of describing it. I know, that's just crazy, isn't it? 6 years already, just...
I know.
Wow. I've had shorter relationships than that, so...
Yep.
Right. Kristen, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a husband. My husband is, people might know him as the Grayson. He used to do the Chaos Portal with MacGyver. And, I have 2 kids. I have a almost 5-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm also going to university online.
Busy.
Yep.
And you still have time to play World of Warcraft.
Absolutely. I have to make time.
I like that answer. So, Kristen, let's it's BFA. It's all about picking your faction. Now, Horde or Alliance?
For the Alliance! All the way for the Alliance. Although lately I've been more about for Azeroth, because something that people might not know about me is I have become a wee bit bi-factional this expansion. Yeah, so I do have my Alliance main, but I also have a Goblin that I played with my husband. And yeah, so initially we leveled Goblins and we got them to around level 60, and then we went ahead and boosted so that I could see the story in Battle for Azeroth, because to be honest, the Horde story had never really interested me that much until Battle for Azeroth, because it seemed everybody always like had the same space to share, so to speak. But with this expansion, we each have 2 different continents to explore, and I really like that because there's really like no, you're not like sharing the same stuff, So, and I'm really interested in the Zandalari, so I knew that I had to play.
Yeah, and it's something to look forward to, I can say. But every Alliance player I tell that to thinks that I'm trying to convert them, which, no, I'm not. But Horde is pretty amazing, this expansion.
Hey, so is the Alliance. Kulturis and Jaina. Oh my gosh. Jaina has been my favorite character ever since I started playing. She's the reason why I play a mage.
Yeah.
So, following her story all up until now, I was like, oh my gosh, please don't make Jaina bad. I was so worried that they would, but this expansion, she's a badass. I love her so much. And from what I've heard, no spoilers here because I don't have anything to be, I wasn't spoiled about it either, but I heard though that at some point in the expansion at max level, I'm going to get to maybe work alongside Jaina, do some questing with her. So nice. I'm really excited about that.
See, now I have to really work on my Alliance tune as well because I want to see all of that.
Yeah, totally. I know that some people are strictly only Horde, strictly only Alliance, which I was one of those people up until now because finally they actually gave me something that I'm really interested in, which, hey, that's not a knock on Blizzard because Blizzard can't make everybody happy all the time. No, exactly. I was completely content not playing Horde, but now I have something that I'm interested in to see the Horde. And yes, I'm also interested in dying because I want to see Bonsomji too.
In all fairness, I don't mind dying that much now anymore because every time he comes up with a new heckle and I just love it. This makes
Although, let me tell you, so I'm not even 111 yet on Horde side yet, but my husband already introduced me to Yanni or Johnny. Oh my goodness, that little dinosaur! I cannot do the stuff that she needs me to do. I had to have him come into the other room to help me get through a couple of her quests. Where you're a little raptor and you're running around and stuff. Oh my goodness, yeah, it's hard.
I know. Yeah, she gets you to do some really weird stuff, but she is. I don't know. I think they really nailed it this time with the Loa. I think they bring something new to this game, and I really enjoy it. You know that we've always had things like Titans or dragons and all those big beings, and the Loa are up there, but they are so different from all of that. I don't know why, but they are more... It
seems like they have more of a personality.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you want to pick actually your Loa and think about...
I know, oh my gosh, when I did that quest, because Jason, he said that he wouldn't spoil me on stuff so that I could experience it with him. And when we got to that part, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to pick my own one?
I know, I still want to pick Yanni though, because that's the best one. The Trash Raptor is the best one.
Yes. Yep.
Now, Alliance, fair enough, with a little bit of, Horde's curiosity. That's fine. So, how did you start playing World of Warcraft? How did it all start for you?
Well, I started playing World of Warcraft back in 2012. I was with my ex at the time. And so at the time, I was actually playing Rift. That's right. Oh my gosh. So I started playing Rift. Rift was my first MMO in 2011 when that came out. Fell in love with the Rift. Absolutely loved it. Then I got together with my ex, and he was playing WoW and I was playing Rift. And I remember having conversation with him saying, hey, you should really try out Rift. And he's like, well, I'll try out Rift if you try out WoW. So I was like, okay, sure. Thinking I'm gonna go back to Rift. As soon as I started playing WoW, I immediately fell in love with it, and I still did play Rift on the side for a while there, but then I was like pretty much exclusively WoW. So
I
that's
think,
how I started playing.
We've been there. I still actually have Rift on my computer. I think I still play it now and again when I have nothing else to do. I will jump back into an MMO that I haven't played forever, but it's not a bad game. It's not a bad
You know
game.
what game I actually got into last year? Which, to all the WoW players out there, I know that this is scandalous, but Guild Wars 2. I really got into Guild Wars 2 last year. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. But then, like, you know, Legion brought more content than, like, ever before.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, whereas, like, in Warlords of Draenor, I had more time to play, like, other games. Like, I remember I played Rift a lot during that expansion because, well, everybody knows that wasn't a popular expansion.
No.
But Legion, with all of the content updates and stuff, like, it didn't really leave a lot of room for, like, another MMO. So, which is a really good thing for Blizzard. But, like, if you're, like, a player who wants to, like, stay, like, not necessarily on the cutting edge, but just keep up with everything that's going on, right? You can pretty much only play like one MMO. So needless to say, Guild Wars 2 and off to the side for a while.
No, I know what you mean. I have that with the Elder Scrolls Online. I know that people rip into it, but I love it. I really love the quest, the voice acting is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know exactly what you mean.
That's
but
what I really liked about Guild Wars 2, is I loved, like, Guild Wars 2, like, you could actually, like, go indoors. Like, that's not really something that you can do in WoW. Like, if the door is closed, you can't really open it.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, I remember going into, like, one of, like, the cities in Guild Wars 2 and being like, oh my gosh, I can open doors.
I know what you mean. I had that when in Elder Scrolls that, oh, I can go into this house if I look, okay. Oh, what can I steal? You know, it's stuff like that. Because of course, you know, when you play Elder Scrolls, you have to play a Khajiit. Because you have to. So.
Okay, is that like a cat person?
Yep.
Or okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I love the Khajiits. They are really fun to play. But, you know, I think for anyone out there, I think it's really good to now and again experience, even if it's not an MMO, but just a different game, just because if you only play World of Warcraft, you don't really get to experience other games and see what other games might do really well. Because I think, you know, having played Rift, having played Guild Wars 2, having played Elder Scrolls, you can just see, okay, yeah, World of Warcraft has taken this on board, this change, and they are now doing this. That's a really good change. Or maybe they need to take a book out of this MMO and see what they do and implement that in their game.
Absolutely. Like, I remember thinking, like, I wish that WoW had something like Rifts in Rift. You know, like the, oh my gosh, what's the term for it? I don't remember the term for it. I'm sorry. But, like, basically having, you know, something happen every so often in, like, a specific zone. Yeah. Where then, like, everybody has to, like, rally together to do something. Which is also why, too, I was super excited when they announced Warfronts.
Yeah.
At BlizzCon, because I think that will... Because, like, right now, they're only going to have the one in Arathi Highlands. But, like, I think that's really cool because, like, if you're not the one attacking, then you're the one who has, like, all, like, the different world quests and rares to do in the zone itself. And I really like that because it kind of, like, gives you, like, a break from either questing or professions, or if you're not a raider, you know, it gives you something else to do. So.
Yeah, and it rallies everyone together. I think you saw that a little bit with the invasions in Legion.
Yes.
So, no, I absolutely, I agree. So, 2012, that is some time ago. Now, you picked a really interesting topic. how has your gaming changed since you started playing back in 2012?
It's so interesting because it's kind of like gone up and down like a wave. Because like when I first started playing, you know, I played like all the time. Like whenever like I didn't have something else going on. This is before I had kids. You know, like I just played like 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And I'll also preface this too, where I was not in a very good relationship at the time. So when you're in a good relationship, you're going to want to naturally spend time with the other person.
Yeah.
So, but even then, I wasn't really doing that. So, like, you know, I just played probably a rather unhealthy amount at the time. But then, like, I ended up moving states. And so that took some time away from WoW.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then I got pregnant. And then now we have 2 kids. And so, like, just because of life and because I'm doing things now that I love, like I love being a stay-at-home mom, you know, but that also doesn't mean that I can sit and play WoW 24/7, you know, like I mean, even now, like I have my computer desk out in the living room because that's usually where the kids are playing, so that when I am on my computer, I can still be out there with the kids, keep an eye on them. So like occasionally throughout the day, I might, you know, hop in game 10, 15 minutes, do a couple of quests, you know, something like that, and then hop right off. And, but like, I'm still like getting some playtime in. But like nowadays, most of my playtime is for an hour or 2 after the kids are in bed. And then like now, like during the weekend, my husband and I will play our Horde tunes together so that we can level them together. But like my gaming time has just like really gone up and down, up and down. And then also there was some time when I was pregnant with my first that I had to take a break from WoW for like 2 or 3 months because my pregnancy was like really difficult, and it was difficult for me to like sit there for like a certain amount of time to game.
Yeah.
So like I'll admit that part, that time was hard for me because I miss playing. Like I miss like talking to my friends, like my guildies and stuff like that. So but the reason I chose this topic was because I find it interesting that it's like a lot of people, you know, who even started playing, some people even started playing when they were teenagers. But now, you know, throughout the years, like the game has been out 14 years now, I think.
Something
or 13
like
years,
yeah,
14 years, yeah. So like naturally everybody gets older and they have, you know, more responsibilities. You know, maybe they're married, they're in relationships. Some of us have kids. You know, a lot of people have careers now. So like, it's fascinating because like sometimes like I still see people like on the forums, which don't go to the forums alone. They can be scary. But a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like why has Blizzard made this game easier? And I'm like, okay, first of all, like LFR, looking for dungeon, you know, having like, you know, the world quest add-ons and stuff like that. I think that it's great that Blizzard did that because not everybody can like sit in like trade chat for like hours at a time trying to get a group together to run a dungeon. You know, it's like so like handy and it makes it actually possible to play the game instead of just like waiting the entire time trying to get a group together. Because yeah, like a lot of people can only play 1, maybe 2 hours a night, if that, and you still want to be able to like feel like you're progressing. Exactly. So I think that it's great that Blizzard has put, you know, so many things in game to quote dumb it down, as some people would say. But then again, I think it's great too because, you know, Blizz is working on Classic WoW. And I think that that will be great not only for the people who missed that part, because I think that that's valid, because some people do just have more time than other people to play. But then they'll have that to play so that they can have that, old WoW experience that they miss. And then for people like me, I'm actually looking forward to it because I didn't play back then. Like, I actually remembered, during Lich King, I remember I got one of those 7-day free trials during Lich King, and I actually played it during then. And, but, like, I vaguely remember, like, anything about that, because, like, I only got up to, like, level 15 or something like that. So, but, like, I'm interested in that just because I never saw it. So, like, it'll kind of be like a new game. And I think also that maybe some of the people who think that they miss vanilla, I think they may end up playing it and being like, oh no, this is shit. And then go back to the current stuff. So
it will be interesting to see how people go. I mean, being a vanilla player, I have no desire to go back. I might just go back just to see, oh yeah, I remember this. This was horrible. And then just, go again. I'm very happy with the game is at this point in time. And it's true what you say, that some people say, oh, the game has been dumbed down. It's so easy. But what I don't understand with those people who say that, it's like, well, it's not costing you anything, is it? If you still want to hardcore raid and progress, you can do that with your guild, or find a group of like-minded people like that. That's not a problem. You even get loot that's better than the people who play, and I use quotation marks here, the easier version of that raid.
Right,
so,
yeah.
I don't really understand why people moan so much about it, because it almost feels a little bit like entitlement of no one else should have access to see the raids or the encounters unless you really want to dedicate yourself to a mythic raiding group. Which
right.
I'm a little bit like, well, in all fairness, I don't think Blizzard can afford that anymore, because I don't think they want to lose people over it. And I think they have seen that, like you said, like yourself, people who started so many years ago, they have grown older, have different responsibilities now, and are in a different stage of their life. So not everyone has that dedicated time anymore. Some people do, other people don't. And some people will completely leave the game and just focus on something else. And I don't think Blizzard is at that point anymore. Like back in, God, I can't remember when their highest rate was. Was it Wrath of the Lich King?
I think it was Wrath, yeah.
I don't think they will ever get those numbers again, just because people have changed. I think the whole gaming society has changed. There are so many other games out there that are free that are getting a lot more people in now to play it. PUBG, I know that's not free, but Fortnite, things like that. They have a lot of different competition, not just MMOs, but just for the gaming public. And
totally, yeah. There's so many more games now that are available that weren't back then.
Exactly. And they have to make it more accessible to everyone. They have to keep the players that they currently have happy on all fronts. So the game has to evolve, at least just like the players. They change, the game has to change. That's my view on it, really. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I've completely changed the way that I play from back in the day. I don't know.
So how does your gaming life look like now? Like in comparison to back then?
It's very bleak compared with how I want it to be. I think nowadays, for me, very much where it used to be, it was I came home from work, because it was during the time that I worked, but I was a teacher back then, so, summer holidays, if I wanted to, I could spend 2 months just sitting behind my computer playing the game, if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But normally it was come home from work, do what I need to do, play my game. And I would make time for that, and I didn't really care about anything else around me. That was it. Even when I moved to England, gaming time was so important. Now that we're talking about, 12, 13 years further along the line, I don't sit up anymore for midnight events because I'm tired by 10 p.m.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way. Yep.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I'm like, I don't care about launch night. I'll play it in 2 days when there's no more crashes and stuff and it's quiet. I'm not that fussed anymore about heavy hardcore raiding like I used to be. And I now and again play, but I don't feel the urge of, oh my god, I need to play. Even though I did have it 2 weeks ago when we decided to go on a little trip in the weekend, and I just thought, okay, the game has just come out a week ago. I really want to play now. So I did have my moments that I was a bit like, yeah, I like being on holiday, but I also want to play my game now.
Yeah.
But, you know, whereas back in the day where I might have thought, oh no, gaming before everything, I don't have that anymore. I just, no, if my boyfriend says to me, do you want to come watch a movie with him? I would prefer doing that. I would finish my quest and then I would go, yeah, let's do it. And whereas back in the day, no, I think I would have preferred to game. That's probably also has to do with the guy I'm seeing now. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it has changed, I think. I can appreciate the game for what it is, but it's not that all-consuming anymore like it used to be back in the day. But, you know, I still am loving everything about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making a podcast and checking up on all the YouTubes and, you know, keeping in touch with everyone in the Warcraft community that I know. But, yeah, no, I do think you get older, and I think once we have kids, that will completely change as well. Because I don't know how people like you with kids do it all this time, because it must be hard trying to juggle it all.
Well, you know, when they were babies and, like, I'd, you know, be up in the middle of the night with them, like, I just, like, hold them in my lap in my arms and, like, with, like, my left arm, and then I'd, like, use my mouse on the other one, and I'd, like, go herbing, or I'd do archaeology, sometimes questing, stuff like that. And, you know, like, playing for, like, an hour or two in the middle of the night, like, it was still, like, a way of, like, kind of, like, getting in some, like, fun time when, like, they were, like, asleep in my arms. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think for people who have kids, like, especially, like, when they're young kids, like, I have a 4 and a 2-year-old. Nowadays, my 4-year-old goes to preschool 4 days a week. So, like, I get, like, a few hours with just one kid. And then even now, usually I'll feed her lunch and she'll take a nap. So in that time, I can either play WoW. Usually, though, I'm doing laundry or something. Because unfortunately, priorities, which I think is another reason why, you know, our gaming changes. Because I think that when most of us started, we were a lot younger. Like, at least for you and I, we were at least 10 to 12 years younger. Well, for you. And then for me, 8-9 years younger. So our priorities were different. And yeah, like you said, like, everything was about the game because that was also more of, like, our main hobbies. Like, now, yes, like, gaming is still, like, one of my biggest hobbies. But I have a couple of other hobbies, too, now that I enjoy. So, like, instead of gaming 7 nights a week, I'll probably game, like, 4 nights a week, you know? So that then I can have time for my other hobby. And I find, too, that as a mom, personally, like, I can't speak for other moms, but I know for me that, like, I'm able to be a better wife and a better mom if I, like, do things that I enjoy that make me happy, because then that, like, re-energizes me. And WoW still does that for me. And, you know...
Well, I think that's really good that, you know, that you can recognize that yourself, that, okay, I need to take the time for this, and I need to, you know, when you prioritize things. And I think that's a very healthy way of doing it. Because I think we've all heard the stories about people who take the game way too serious or just dive too much into it and start to... I don't want to say lose track of reality, because that's not really it. But, you know, they don't look after themselves anymore, or their loved ones, and then it starts to become, I think, a very horrible, I would say, addiction almost.
Yes. Yeah, and unfortunately, at least for like my experience, you know, many years ago, I also got really into WoW because one, it was the only way that I was really social with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I was in a relationship that I just wasn't happy in.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, like, if you're just not happy in your life, I think that's when like it's easy to have some kind of addiction,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be a video game addiction or any other type, you know? So I don't, and that's that, like, gosh, this is so funny. I didn't even mean to talk about this, but like nowadays there's the whole like video game violence thing.
Yeah.
Video games aren't the cause. It's like the people themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and so video games just happen to be the culprit. You know, they're the ones that are like taking the blame for like, you know, addiction and stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but like for me, I have a really healthy gaming life now because it's not all my life. Like, you know, granted, okay, most of the social like people that I talk to is because of WoW, and but I'm an introvert. I'm definitely not extroverted at all. So like I'm happier, you know, not really being among like a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, no, I understand that feeling.
So
No, I think it's good, and especially since considering what has happened, like last week, because we're recording this show, and this show will be, you know, uploaded a bit later than all this what has happened. But yeah, the shooting that happened in what was it, Madden? It was the Madden tournament, wasn't it?
Yes.
People are so quick to immediately say video games did this, violence and everything, but just seeing how that Madden community immediately rallied together, I thought was very nice. And it's a shame that there's still such a stigma around gamers and video games, that people think that you are socially awkward or you're a recluse, or you can have that with all sorts of people, you know. It's just another different way. I think even more because gamers who are gaming online actually have interactions with other people, maybe not face to face. It can actually help them to overcome certain fears, or at least not be completely isolated. So there's something to say for anything. I think anyone who is very trigger happy with a gun will find any reason or blame to do that. You know, it could have been now it's video games. Maybe 20 years ago it was violent movies, or you know, 40 years ago it was music that would have pushed them into it.
Right.
There's always something. So I think it's just a shame that this generation has to, everything gets blamed on the video games. That or
yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's you know, it's a very, I don't know, I was going to think a strange world that we live in, but it is what it is, unfortunately, and I'm hoping that maybe in like several years we won't have that stigma anymore, but we shall see.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have hopes, because up until a few years ago, you know, the big stigma was therapy, right? Everybody thought that if you went to therapy or you went to a counselor or something was the matter with you. And that's not the case. Not at all. So I'm heartened to think that maybe in a few years the gaming stigma will be gone, and then it'll be someone else's hobby, unfortunately, that will probably be stigmatized.
No doubt. I mean, they always will have to find a scapegoat. It's, you know, that's, I guess, just how society is. Let's talk about something more WoW related, a little bit happier. With the new expansion pack, so we've talked about the Trash Raptor and all those other things, and Jaina, but what are you the most impressed with so far in Battle for Azeroth?
Okay. I understand some people are going to disagree with me, but one of my favorite things about the game is the lore. And the way that you get lore is through questing. I love all the quests. Oh my goodness. Like, so I first went to Drustvar because I heard that it was spooky, and it is very spooky. And let me tell you, I could not play that at night.
Very, very
I do not do well. I do not do well with being scared. I don't like to be scared. But there were a few quests in there that really got me. But I went through Drustvar, and then I went to Tiergard Sound, and I hit level 120 like halfway through Tiergard. So then, like, at max level, I was so excited. I'm so excited because I haven't even finished everything yet. I just opened up World Quest yesterday morning. Because I was, going through Tiergard, still have some of that to go. I started Storm Songs so that I could get to friendly with them to open up World Quests. But I've still got like 3/4 of Storm Song to go. And I love the quests, and I love the people that you're, questing alongside, like the NPCs. I love their personalities. I feel like they all have their personalities are really, like, I don't know. It seems like they have bigger personalities this expansion. And I really enjoy that. And I'm really, really, really enjoying the questing experience. Because I have to say, I was a bit worried when at Blizzcon I found out that we were only getting 3 zones apiece. Because, questing is my favorite thing to do in WoW. I have tons of alts. Because I love to quest and I love to level. And with Legion, we had Suramar. And I was so super excited about Suramar because that was an entire zone to do at max level. So when I learned that we weren't going to have that, and then we were only going to have 3, zones to go through, I was a bit worried. But I am super happy about it because there's still so much for me to do, so much to learn, so much to explore. And I'm just having a blast.
Good. That's really... Yeah, I'm with you. Because I felt a little bit like 3 zones, is that going to be enough? But you get so many quests in the area. So, yeah, there's a lot to do. I absolutely agree with you. What is the thing that you are least impressed with?
You know what? This is going to sound like a cop-out. But there's really nothing that I found yet that I don't like.
That's good.
And I'm being totally honest because, like, I'm doing the professions. I love what they've done with the professions. At least the ones that I do. Plus also, okay, I think I might have one slight negative thing.
Okay.
I wish that they hadn't gotten rid of first aid. Because even though I didn't really use the bandages... Heck, I didn't really use first aid at all, being completely honest. Yeah. I just liked having another professional level. And then, like, plus, like, now, like, with the Dark Moon Fair, like, I'd always go, and then I'd do, like, the profession quest for the first aid, but now we don't have that anymore.
Yeah,
so I kind
you
of
have to have, tailoring to make a bandage nowadays.
Right, yeah. No, and that's something super silly. But no, like I've done 3 dungeons so far. Really enjoy them. I love the questing. I love the environment. Even Drustvar, that, like, scared the crap out of me a few times. To be completely honest, there's not really anything that I haven't been happy about, other than when I first learned in 8.0 that first aid was going away. Because now, like, when I open up my profession panel, it just looks weird not having first aid there. Because then they had to move archaeology. So now archaeology is at the bottom, and it just looks weird. I know it's so silly and so, like, trivial, but That's the best I've got, being completely honest.
Hey, I think they've done a pretty good job if that's the only complaint you have so far, so that's good.
Yep.
Do you have any good tips for the listeners regarding Battle for Azeroth? Maybe something that you've discovered, or some people have said, "Oh, start your war campaign as soon as possible." What would you say is something that could be useful to other players?
You know what? I would say just take your time. Like, okay, if you're not a raider, mind you, okay, for like the person that's not a raider, like I'm not a raider. Just take your time. I'm reading every single quest. I really am. That's why it took me a week and a half to reach max level. Because I'm reading all the quest text. I'm taking my time. I started doing professions right away just because I enjoy doing it. Plus also I've made a good chunk of gold.
Are you going for the
selling...
boy?
No. So I'm selling glyphs and I'm selling herbs because I'm a scribe.
Yeah.
And an herbalist. And, sorry, my son just came in. Go on, bed. Sorry about that. But I'm just taking my time. And, if it's your first character and if you're not raiding, there's really not a rush. Just take your time, read the quest text if that's something that you enjoy. I enjoyed doing that my first time around, and then after that, I don't do it anymore because I already learned everything, I wanted to learn. And just explore, hit up the rares when you see one. I'm not a min-maxer at all, so some people are gonna listen and be like, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? Like don't get the rares until you're max level because then you can get better gear. I'm honestly not worried about that, so that's not what I did, and I'm totally fine. But yeah, mainly just take your time, enjoy yourself. We're probably not gonna get the next patch for a few months. I mean, we haven't even heard of the content yet. I'm suspecting that we'll probably learn about it probably at BlizzCon. Yeah, I mean, just take your time. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Because you know what? The only person that you're hurting is yourself if you rush through things, and get too exalted with everybody right away and stuff, because then you're gonna run out of stuff to do. And then you're gonna probably then be one of those people, oh my gosh, it's a month after the expansion's launched. When's the next patch? When's their new stuff?
Yeah. They all got on board now. Well...
Yeah, exactly. Pace yourself.
I think that's a good one. Kristen, what has the Warcraft community meant to you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, first of all, I met you.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, in all honesty.
I consider it to be a very good thing, so. But I also met my husband because of the WoW community. He and I met on Twitter because this is so funny. I stalked him because, okay, here's the thing, right? So this is back when I was listening to 40 WoW podcasts every week. Yeah. And I saw that a new podcast was coming out, the Chaos Portal. And so I immediately started following him. And then we just started chatting, and then we just became friends, and then friends became more, and then we ended up being together, and then I moved from one state to another so that we could be together. And so we've been together for about, almost 6 years now. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, and so if it weren't for the WoW community, we would have never met, and we would have never had our beautiful children that we have now. So I really couldn't ask for more.
No, exactly. That's a lovely story. I like that. I really like that. And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, me too. And I'm so happy for you too, because you're doing really great, and I'm really glad that you're with someone who deserves you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure You know, at times when I snore at night, he doesn't feel that way. But that's something he'll learn to live with, unfortunately. He has no choice. Kristen, now this is always a little bit of a tricky question. What would be your whisper?
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I am going to theorize that maybe... Okay, so everybody I'm sure has seen the Azshara Warbringer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to
hope
say...
they have now.
Right? It's been out for a week or so now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I have to say, I think that it was actually my favorite one. And I feel so bad saying that because Jane is my favorite and I love the song. It's gorgeous. Absolutely loved it. But like, the Warbringer Azshara one was like dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it was so, so good. And I'm going to theorize that... So you know how during it, when she's underwater and N'Zoth like does the nothing, I'm a god, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
he like illuminates the sea, and then you see Ny'alotha,
Mm-hmm.
like the Black Empire there. I am theorizing that we might get that like raised up somehow
Ooh.
as content for a future patch.
That would be cool.
I'm thinking that could be the patch before, because everybody knows that at some point we are going to fight Queen Azshara, because that was announced at Blizzcon last year. She was going to be a final boss of a raid. Well, we know it's not the first raid, so I'm theorizing that we may go against her in the second raid, which I'm also really, really, really hoping that we don't kill her, because I really like Azshara and I want to see more of her.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to like have us like see her and then just like kill her right off the bat. So I am theorizing that for the patch that we have to defeat her or, you know, attack her or whatever, fight her, that we will have Ny'alotha as the content.
That would be so cool. Well, you know, we went to Argus once, so why wouldn't this happen? I'm so excited for that. That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I say that I think that it will be risen up somehow by like, I don't know, maybe like the mages or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that Blizzard might have learned their lesson with Vashir in Cataclysm. I enjoyed doing it, but even I got a little motion sickness when I was doing that zone. Because like everything, like at some points, like you thought up was down and down was up. Like you lost your bearings. So I don't think that they want to quite do anything like that again. But maybe they could do like part of it still in the sea and part of it, you know, raised up to the shore. Yeah. So I think that would be really cool.
That would be amazing. Oh, I hope you are right, because that would be so cool. That's amazing. I'm going to be gushing over that all night. Well, thank you for leaving me with that amazing idea. Kristen, where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Sure. I'm on Twitter. You can find me at DisneyGirl85 on Twitter.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the interview. It was lovely talking to you again.
Thank you, Sil. It was so much fun. I'm so glad that we got to have a chat.
I hope you enjoyed that interview I had with Kristen. I certainly loved talking to her again. It's been such a long time, so it was great to have a chat with her, and hopefully she'll come back in the future to have a chat about a different subject. Now, of course, you guys have responded a lot about this topic, and it's very interesting to see how all of you have changed your ways of playing over the years. So let's start with all your replies. Taliesin and Evitel, the amazing duo from the internet. We all know their videos and just how much, you know, time and effort they put into their videos. If you haven't seen any of them yet, do yourself a favor and go to YouTube. Taliesin and Evitel said, I level a lot more alts than I used to, largely thanks to Legion, where I wanted to see all the Order Hold stories and get all the weapons and mounts. I carried that into BFA and loving it. Otherwise, my main focus went from single-player activities to raiding and Mythic Plus when I joined a nice guild, and so I'm a much more social-orientated player. Social is a misleading term because it suggests casual, but being more social has meant being able to take part in much higher-end content than I could ever get near in the 8 years previous. Now that's really, really interesting to hear because, yeah, you do get that whole, social/casual vibe when you hear that. But actually, the fact that you have a good guild and that is a good guild to do stuff with, and everyone is being social and active, I guess you could push for higher content much easier. So that's really cool. Taliesin, you need to find me a guild like that. You really need to find me a guild like that because I know that you're on the same server. Valley Does Gifts says, I've become inherently less social. Finding time to be consistent is my main struggle. Leveling alts and a few Mythic Pluses a week is about all I can manage. A far cry from the 4 nights a week raid schedule I maintained for years previous. Wow, 4 nights a week. That's a lot. That's almost every other night. I had this... Well, I didn't have exactly the same thing, but I used to raid a lot more than I do now. I mean, it's LFR for me now. But, that's a shame that you've become less social. I wonder if it's just something that you chose to become, or if people left the game, or life. Of course, you get older, different responsibilities. So, yeah, curious. Pirate Poots said, I used to raid hardcore from vanilla to end of Wrath, though nowhere near to the level of top tier raiders. I realized I was miserable and decided I'm better off taking my time in things, and now even casual raiding is feeling like a job just to pull my own weight. Oh, that's not good. I always say you need to play something that's fun, you spend money on this game, so don't play something that you feel like is a second job. Don't do that. Joseph Burnston. I used to raid 4 to 5 nights a week back in Wrath of the Lich King, but still not clearing 25 heroic in a consistent manner. But now I'm just raiding 2 nights a week for a total of 7 hours and Archives cutting edge. Just shows what kind of people you want to surround yourself with, and the outcome will reflect. I think that's very true. If you are with hardcore raiders who will push for top content and progression, then that will happen, of course. But if you are with casual players who just want to have fun, then that will also come back to you. Maria Rocks says, I used to raid till Lich King. Since then I became a casual player. I still have a lot of fun. I focus on alts, and I like how 8.1 sounds. So do I. I'm looking forward to 8.1. Yeah, your story sounds very much like mine. I raided, and then became casual. Jeff Queering. I did progression raiding in Vanilla and Burning Crusade, then I had a kid and I took almost a year off. I've been playing consistently since then, as I'm mainly a solo player, because my whole guild broke up before Wrath. I joined AIE during Kata and casually pick up group stuff in guild now. I think that's really nice when you're like, with the big ones like Converter Raid and AIE, you know that you will have a lot of people online anyway. That's a good thing. I would assume. I'm not entirely sure, because I've never been in such a massive guild. Never been in a mega guild, but I'm going to assume it's quite nice that there's always someone online that you can chat with. But I'm wondering, is it not sometimes very lonely? You know what you sometimes hear, that even when there's so many people talking, is everyone actually talking to you? Or, can you also feel very lonely in a very busy guild? Scott Columbell. I switched from hardcore PvE to arenas for Battle for Azeroth, and from Tank Hunter to Needle DPS. Worst fucking decision ever. Because I picked a Death Knight to main, and let's just say they are not great at the moment. So it's forced me to just go super casual and not enjoying this expansion at the moment. But I hope it'll get better. I haven't given up just yet, I'm just feeling a little defeated. Oh, Scott, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's really, really sad. Can't you pick up a different class if you're not really happy with the Death Knight? Can't you go back to something else? Maybe, I don't know, try Monk? I hear a lot of people go Monk because that's so amazing. I don't know. Because I don't really have a high level Monk. Mine is like level 30, but maybe you need to try a different class. I don't know. Yeah, I hope it will get better for you. Xclavier said, I started casually with a few co-workers. I started raiding 3 to 4 nights a week with a couple of convert to raid teams in Mist of Pandaria. Then took a break midway through Warlords into Legion for a relationship. Didn't last. I'm sorry to hear that. Now I'm back as a LFR hero, playing more casually due to family priorities. You know what? That happens, you know, LFR hero. I think that's a nice phrase. Why not? Call yourself an LFR hero. I like that. I think we should all call each other that, if you do LFR, of course. Nate Gray said, I stopped leveling after Kata when I became Guacamole and dungeons were chasing a room behind the one guy with heirlooms. Oh, we all know those days. After 7.3.5, I loved leveling alts again, actually healing and tanking, and making decisions on my character instead of lol, just spam X. Yeah, very true, very true. I think we all experienced that, like, oh, just pull the entire room and just run and try to hit it all and it will die. That has changed a lot. Especially now it has changed with the aggro, but you know, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I guess you have to put a bit more effort in, which is not a bad thing. And that comic said, I started casual in vanilla. I started raiding in Mist of Pandaria, started mythic raiding in WoD, continued that in Legion, but now I'm a full-time student, so mostly I just level alts or farm rep on my hunter to unlock allied races. Yep, I'm still trying to grind that rep, like for my allied races. I'm not there yet. But yeah, that's I love seeing all the differences, but also seeing that some of you, you know, started casually and then went more hardcore, and others of you actually were quite hardcore and now are more casual. It's interesting to see how many of you played for quite a while, and it just changes. That's very interesting. I wonder if there's anyone out there who says, no, I've always been a hardcore raider, and I still am a hardcore raider that has never changed, or I'm only in it for the PvP, or something. Yeah, curious. So with me, I already said a little bit about it, but for me, I used to play, I wouldn't say hardcore, I've done a bit of everything. Like, I think mostly what I was a hardcore role player. In all fairness, that was mostly my vanilla and Burning Crusade days. And then with Wrath of the Lich King, I mean, I was already raiding back then. I was in one of the guilds that actually pushed for progression when Molten Core came out. But I think at a certain point, you know, I got older, I got different priorities, the game wasn't as pulling me in anymore, so I stopped raiding, and I actually took a break from the game. I think it was around Kata, and then I came back. I don't know if I really wanted to raid. I have never gotten back into raiding. Not seriously. I tried, but I just could not focus anymore. I still find it very difficult to focus. I get very much... I don't know if you guys have that, but you know, when you sign up for a raid and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then it's actually raid night, and you're like, how on earth am I going to get out of this? Because I don't really wanna. I don't know what that is. It almost felt like a second job, and I just did not enjoy that. So I just figured, you know, it's not for me, or maybe it's just not the right guilds. Maybe I just don't find it fun when people are all looking at their meters. So for me, I just put that to the side. But I did feel like I was missing anything. So LFR was a great thing for me because I actually saw more story happening. So I felt like I didn't miss everything. Because that's the real reason why I did the raiding. And because I'm a loot whore. So, you know, getting new gear is always good. But yeah, the RP really died a bit, and now I'm trying to get back into it. Like I said, my Goldshire adventures that might scar me for the rest of my life, I don't know yet. And I'm just a very casual leveler. Back in the day, I was actually quite the altoholic, and I leveled a lot of alt. Now I prefer to have a main, just because I really want to get invested into that main character. But I don't feel as enthusiastic about my classes anymore like I used to. Back in the day when I had a main, that was it. That was my everything. And back in the day, that was my druid. That was the character I identified with. Now I don't have that so much anymore. I just don't... I don't feel that invested in my tunes. Maybe I just haven't found the right class yet. Like I said, I do like my rogue. Now that she's geared up, I do notice how quickly I can kill shit, which is great. But it's still not... Yeah, it just still doesn't really grab me, if that makes any sense. So that's really it. So that's what is going on with me in game. I'm just pottering along and just having fun. That's at least what I try. Even though I have started to level a little, or not even level, I've stopped leveling on the hunter completely. I'm just taking it a little bit more casual, even more so, just, you know, doing my world quests and seeing where things will take me. If I see a quest pop up that I haven't seen before, then hey, let's just do it. I'm enjoying that, and I'm still enjoying exploring the hell out of Zuldazar. So that's really it for this week. Now, next week I have an amazing interview with Frasley, who of course has his own podcast called Frazzlecast, and you might recognize his voice from that. So I do urge you also to listen to that episode. And then I would love to have some guests on for the next episodes, because we're going towards episode 10. So if you are interested in becoming a guest, please send me a message, because I'm running out of interviews and I want to talk to you guys. So please send me a message. Have I said please yet? Please do it. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So the topic for next week is going to be something that we've all done in this expansion, and that is questing. So I want to know your opinion on the quest and the flow of those quests in Battle for Azeroth. You know, I guess it also is a little bit about the storyline, but have you noticed anything different from the questing from before, like in the other expansions? Do you feel like it's very much the same? Do you think things have improved? What do you think of the storylines of quests just popping up sometimes? I want to know. I want to know everything. Also, you know, especially the quests that are gated behind certain reputation. Let me know about that, because that's an interesting one. So thank you so much, everyone, for, you know, being fantastic like always, downloading the podcast, sharing and retweeting. I really appreciate it. And keep an eye on Twitter, where you can contact me. And that is on @whispers_of_war. Of course, if you want to see my private account, that's fine as well, @McMonkeys with a Z. You can email the show, whispersofwarpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find the podcast on whispersofwar.podbean.com. Thank you guys again for everything. Have a wonderful time in Azeroth. And please keep an eye out on that Twitter and answer my questions. Bye!